I turn to my right now, and the host of Showtime Sports' new digital talk show, Below the Belt, and a man who's not only working for Showtime, but working for E! And his set at the Comedy Store in La Jolla, California tonight is sold out. He is Brendan Schaub, back here on the Rich Eisen Show. You're the all-around Renaissance man here. Man.
I'm just trying to get paid like these college kids, Rich. Yeah. That's all I'm trying to do, man. Things are good, man. I appreciate you. This is one of my favorite shows.
Thank you.
One of my favorite shows to do. Yes.
I appreciate that. I appreciate you saying that. So, what is Below the Belt? That's debuting next Wednesday.
What is Below the Belt? It started with the idea because I worked the Conor McGregor Floyd Mayweather fight for Showtime. And I'm a huge boxing fan. I started in boxing. That's my background. I was a Golden Gloves champ. And then I made my way over to the UFC. And there seems to be, especially when I would do all the PR for that big boxing match with McGregor and Floyd, there's the boxing fans, there's MMA fans, and they hate each other. There's no middleman. There's no middle ground.
Okay.
And so we get done with that huge event, one of the biggest boxing events of all time. And we're sitting at the table, and Showtime goes, "What now? What now?" And I went, "You guys have this MMA audience, and they're finally engaged in boxing. You need to piece it together."
Okay.
And they said, "That's why you're here." And said, "What, you got any ideas?" And here's Below the Belt. So I'm a boxing fan. I'm a mixed martial arts fan, entertainment fan, pop culture, fashion. So it's kind of this comedy, variety, sports show all mixed into one.
And it's on YouTube and Facebook starting next Wednesday, February 28th. And the Below the Belt podcast premieres March 6th. So you just got it all working right now.
I got it working. The Below the Belt podcast, and my fans, if there's some out there.
There are.
I have the Big Brown Breakdown. Nothing changes. I'm just changing the name, the Big Brown Breakdown, which is a tongue twister, into Below the Belt. So it's all the same branding.
Makes
sense, right?
Yeah, it does.
You don't want to confuse people.
But you're naming your podcast and your show after an illegal maneuver.
It is illegal.
You understand?
Well, you know why? Because I watched the not anything against other sports shows or especially fight shows. I've seen it all before, so this is just a little mix up.
How about In Your Face?
In Your Grill?
In Your Grill.
Kick to the nuts?
That's
too much.
Well, Below the Belt is a more classy way of saying what you just said.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I know. It's kind of like we're talking about stuff that...
Look, you are certainly, if you're going to be red carpeting and you're going to be doing that sort of stuff in your career,
Don't watch your P's and Q's, sir.
Well, no, I think you need to be more in the numerator than the denominator.
I agree.
You see what I'm saying?
I know.
You're right. If you don't mind me saying.
I could have used this advice before we named the show weeks ago, sir.
It still
We're
works.
already off and running.
It still works.
We're on a bad foot.
Who's going to be your first guest? Who do you got?
Man, we got some good ones. We got Deontay Wilder, who's the heavyweight champ, who actually fights next weekend. And so our show airs before that. And then we have Frankie Edgar, who also fights next weekend in the UFC. He's fighting Brian Ortega, the UFC legend. And then we have Paulie Malignaggi, who I do a game with a bit I call Shot for Shot, where he's 5 tequila shots.
Yeah.
And if Paulie agrees with me, he has to take a shot. If he doesn't, I have to take a shot. Some fun times.
So when he gets all hammered, can we find out what was his role actually in the McGregor-Mayweather week?
I tried. You'll see.
Was he? So was he a mole? Was he not a mole for McGregor for Mayweather? What was Malignaggi's role in that week,
he wasn't a
Brendan?
mole. He wasn't a mole. What happened was he went in there and he had assumptions that they were just going to use him, kind of pick his brain on stuff, and they were kind of use him just to prove a point, And he wasn't in shape. He got off the plane, 12 rounds, and you get beat up when that happens, man. I do believe he got dropped, but all the odds were against him. It was a bad idea.
Okay. So now, what is the scoop with McGregor and UFC right now? Because Dana White basically said he's going to lose his title because he's not fighting.
What's that mean these days? Titles, right now we're in the entertainment era, so everyone wants these super fights. So titles don't mean much.
But what we want to see is McGregor fighting. That's what we
want
to see.
Correct, whether it's for a title or not.
Well, when are we going to see that, best you can tell?
Fairly soon. I think you'll see him in 2018. They did just announce they're having a show in Dublin, which I think would be his best bet. And he did on social media say that he was going to take the fight on short notice against Frankie Edgar because his opponent, Max Holloway, got hurt. And he was going to take the fight on short notice in 2 weeks, but Dana, from Conor's perspective, said, no, we don't have enough time to market. We can't pay you that much right now, so let's hold off. Now, Frankie Edgar's manager came out and went, whoa, that never happened. I tend to side with Conor on this, knowing Conor, and I think he hit up Dana and he actually did want to take the fight, but So he sometimes doesn't get to the managers. So I'll side with Conor on this.
Okay, so Conor, when you say, for those who might not be familiar, when you say you side with Conor on this, what do you mean by that, Brendan?
Meaning, I do think he would be open to taking the fight on short notice. I do think he's going to fight in the UFC. I think he's waiting to see what happens with that interim title, if it is an interim title. Again, titles make no sense. But with Khabib Nurmagomedov and Tony Ferguson are fighting for the 155-pound title.
Right.
Depending on the winner of that, would be Conor's next decision. It could, if Khabib wins, I don't think he wants to fight him. If Tony wins, he will fight him, Tony Ferguson. Or he can just chill out with his $100 million.
Yeah.
Be on yachts, do his Gucci thing, and then maybe fight Nate Diaz. That fight's never going anywhere.
How the hell is he not in a Guy Ritchie movie already? I mean,
Right.
He seems like he's perfect for something like that.
You know, he turned down a role on Game of Thrones because he was focused on training.
Come on.
I know. Look at, I got Game of Thrones boots on.
What do you
man.
put a little bit more meat on those bones? What do you mean? He turned down a role?
He had a lot of offers to do.
What?
The Predator remake they're doing, Game of Thrones. Hollywood's calling his name, but he's focused on fighting. He also has $100 million. It's tough to. You've been on sets. It's tough to kind of hurry up and wait and play make believe.
Brendan Schaub here on the Rich Eisen Show. Does the UFC have a star problem? Because
Sports in general have a problem. You know, boxing is supposed to have been dead forever. You know, it's on its last leg. It's on its last leg, and boxing's never been better. There's so many damn stars. They don't know what to do with it. There's great stars in box right now. NBA goes same thing. NFL. They just have this surplus of athletes and stars.
Look,
you know?
look. I mean, the combine that's coming up next week. We've got like 6, 7, 8, 9 quarterbacks that are coming into the NFL. Saquon Barkley, by this point next week, will have run his 40-yard dash, and everyone's going to be talking about him, et cetera. But seriously, I mean, in the UFC, we're wondering, where is Conor McGregor? Ronda Rousey joining wrestling is a conversation more than most from that world.
Correct.
So that's what I'm saying is, does the UFC have a next set of people that can break through and capture the imagination of a casual sports fan to tune in and more importantly for them, put down hard-earned American dollars to watch this fight?
Yeah, and that's a great point. You know, I think that's always the question. I think, you know, when Chuck Liddell retired, when Tito Ortiz retired, Conor being out, John Jones being out, you know, and you have the heavyweight champ who's been out. So whenever these guys go out, people, oh, they're done. So they always find someone, you know, but listen, they have a business model problem. You know, their business model that rides and dies on superstars and people paying basically $70 for HD pay-per-views, that's their problem. I think, you know, the pay-per-view model is the issue. It's tough these days. It's tough. There's too much to compete with.
Well, but that said, you know, of the many, in all honesty, and I'll say this because I enjoy you coming on here and so many folks from your world of octagon and square ring fighting.
Sure.
It just seems that you all want to do something else too, because you don't want to get your brains beaten in for so long.
It depends
right?
who you talk to. Ignorance is bliss. So for me, I was terrified to fight, and you know, and my dream was to be a comedian. My heroes were Jim Carrey and Adam Sandler growing up. So I just was blessed with, you know, I was fast and bigger than everyone. So my dad was like, for sure, pick up a football and quit acting like an idiot. So I was fortunate in that aspect, kind of. But a lot of these guys, they love fighting. That's all they know. The ones you have on here are here for a reason because they're one of the few that can speak and articulate things very well. But in general, you know, those world champions like a Stipe Miocic, Tony Ferguson, Khabib, these guys, that's all they care about is fighting.
Right. Well, you're the only one I know that turned Golden Gloves into Golden Globes.
I know.
See where I just went on that one?
Boom. I'm a little too into fashion.
So you did the E-Channel post Golden Globes? You did all that stuff?
Golden Globes was my first run with them, and I did the Grammys in New York, and I'm doing the Oscars next weekend.
You're doing the Oscars?
Doing the Oscars, man.
Now, he's doing the Oscars, I'm doing the Combine that day. There's something wrong with this picture.
I don't know, man. You got to watch a bunch of dudes run 40-yard dashes in tights. Depends what you're into. and I break down fashion.
No, I mean,
I don't know. It seems pretty simple.
No,
I feel like we'd be into the same thing if you just hear that. I don't know, man.
All right, let's take a break. We'll come back.
Let's take a break.
We'll get deeper into this. Brendan Schaub is here on the Rich Eisen Show. Gabe Feldman of the Tulane Sports Law Programs joining us in the middle of this hour, part of your newscast. What else you have in your news all teed up, Brockman?
Big NFL trade that just went down, Rich.
What?
Big NFL trade.
That just went down?
That just went down.
Well, I'll tell you what. We're not waiting for your news update in the middle of the hour. We're going to get to that next.
Yeah, we'll get to that next.
I have to know.
Yeah.
So you know NFL news that I don't right now.
I do.
Yeah. He's going to the Oscars. I'm going to the Combine.
Yeah, you're losing right now.
Are
man.
cats and dogs playing together behind me in the AT&T thoroughfare?
Del
What
Tufo
the
has a
hell
remix.
is happening?
And I have a remix.
What do you mean? Oh, from Levitard's show?
Yeah.
Got it. Barry Melrose in hour number 3 and Buckets Blakes. We've got some Harlem Globetrotters making their way to the studio. That's how we are rolling here on this Friday show. All right, Brendan Schaub still with us here. Showtime Sports Below the Belt. It will debut next Wednesday, February 28th on YouTube and Facebook. And then you're a correspondent on After Party for the E! Network. You did that post-Golden Globes. You did that post-Grammy Awards. Excuse me for missing that, all right? But I'm into this sort of stuff.
Are you?
So what is it, you and a co-host? What are you?
It's a panel. It's a panel. The pre-show can be me and one other person, but the post-show, the after party, it's me. It's a panel.
Okay, who's
panel
on the,
people.
who else on
it's
the
like
panel?
Morgan Stewart.
Okay.
There's a celebrity stylist. There's a bunch of us.
So now you're on the Oscar After Party.
I'm on the Oscar after party. I'm coming with some hotness as far as fashion.
No, okay. What do you have?
I have I'll break news here. I do like you,
Attaboy.
Rich, so I'll
Thanks,
break
Brendan.
the news here.
Thanks,
It is
Brendan.
a crushed velvet burnt gold jacket with black lapels and some black tuxedo pants.
Damn.
What do we got for shoes?
So basically, you're going to look like an Oscar is what you're saying.
Kind of. I like
Okay.
I call it peacocking. You know, listen, I support the cause, the Me Too movement. When I did the Golden Globes, and bear with me here, when I did Golden Globes,
yes.
I was super excited because I'm really into fashion. I'm working for E! They gave me a celebrity stylist.
Yes.
I had to wear all black. We all look like we're in a funeral.
Well, good for
you. It was
you,
not
though.
fun.
But at least you did it.
Yeah, well, yeah, I support
to.
the cause, but
Good.
it's your first one, and you have to wear all black.
So how many of the Oscar-nominated films have you seen, Brendan?
I'd say at least half. At least half. That's part of the gig, man. I got to watch that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, you need to make up some time. What have you?
Well, the boring ones I don't, because I only talk about what I like, really.
But you have to know.
Did you see I, Tanya?
I have not seen I, Tanya yet. You saw
What
it,
are we
right?
doing, Rich?
I saw it.
You saw it.
I saw it, Brent.
Okay, and you what did you think? You thought it was way too sympathetic
It
about
was good,
her,
but
right?
I'm not into the narrative of Tanya Harding as a sympathetic figure. And also, Margot Robbie, way too attractive to play Tanya Harding, with all due respect.
Who would you have play her?
I wouldn't have done the movie.
You'd have to put on some weight,
Okay.
like the movie Monster.
Have you seen The Shape of Water?
I have seen Shape of Water. That's a good movie. Good love story.
It's
Like a Beauty and the Beast underwater.
well,
With an alien.
Yeah,
Correct.
it's a little too out there for me, man.
This is my thing
That one was one of those movies.
It's artsy.
Movies. Well, look, I like artsy as anybody else. I mean, it was one of those lights come up. Wife and I look at each other like, what the hell
We just wasted 2
was
hours of
that?
our life. Yeah, it's
what
tough.
the hell was that? We had Richard Jenkins, who's nominated. He was here, and I asked him. I'm like, well, what was that about? You know?
Did he have a good answer?
He did have a good answer. It doesn't ring a bell right now.
Was it an hour-long answer?
It was a very Guillermo del Toro answer.
With I, Tanya, think if you're Nancy Kerrigan. You're like,
She's
what the
pissed.
f-
No,
How's this happen?
And she should
I
be
get
pissed.
Dancing with the Stars. She gets a freaking Oscar now. How's this work?
well, I mean, she also let's not forget she took it to the knee. She actually
She took
got
one for the team.
assaulted. She got assaulted.
It also makes you realize that these were four of the dumbest people on Earth who thought they were going to get away with this.
Right.
That's why it's so good. It's so good.
I'll never forget Charlie Steiner did the Brendan Schaub here on the Rich Eisen Show. Charlie Steiner did the reader on SportsCenter when Tanya Harding and Jeff Gillooly, her husband, broke up, and he read the details of the breakup, and one of them got the tool shed in the breakup, and he could not get through it. It was one of those famous Charlie Steiner giggle
Yes,
fests.
I gotta find this.
Oh, you must. Oh, you must. Charlie could not get through it when he
Please
was
do.
reading all that
Please
stuff.
bring that up.
Did you see Get Out?
Yes.
That is
great movie.
To me, that was one of the. I understand it's pop culture, it's horror, but in terms of movies that I've seen this year,
How original is it?
it's one of the best movies I've seen all year.
Amazing.
Did you see Three Billboards? Did you see that?
Yes.
Well, I mean, you can't say I enjoyed that. It's pretty damn tough, but
it's well done. You can say that.
Yes, you can.
It's well done.
Huh? Now you're the Oscar guy,
What's
right
up,
there.
man? Yes. See why I get the gig?
Well done. Okay, so what would you give the best picture to? What's your best picture that you've seen this year?
Oh, I'd give it to Get Out. As far as originality, just the overall product, I'd give it to Get Out.
Did you ever see Rosemary's Baby from back in the day?
I did
see that?
not.
You
No,
need
I'm
to see
young.
that.
Yeah, I'm young.
You need to see that. It's very, very similar to Rosemary's
When did that
Baby.
come out?
Oh gosh, late '60s, I believe.
Yeah, no.
late.
For sure missed that,
Come
Rich.
on, dude. Don't be one of those
Come
guys.
on,
Like, I'm a
man.
young man and I don't watch
I'm just
old
saying,
stuff.
I
What's
mean-
the oldest movie you've ever seen?
Commando?
Do not. About to say. You are not allowed to say something from the 90s.
Commando?
You're not allowed to say something from the.
Jean-Claude Van Damme and Cyborg? I don't know.
Do you have it over there? I could see what you're.
We
you're
found
cultivating the
Charlie
caper
Steiner
right now.
tool shed. Del Tufo's got it.
You
Hold
got it.
on.
Okay, here we go.
Part of the prenuptial agreement, Tanya gets to keep the pickup truck. Michael keeps the tool chest. Says Michael Smith, quote, I don't like... He gets the tool chest. You have just seen the star witness in...
Okay.
Charlie Steiner.
He couldn't get through it.
Couldn't get through it.
So I guess it wasn't Galooly. It was her and another. I have not seen I, Tonya, but I
It's
definitely
a
want to
dark
see
movie.
that.
It's a darker movie.
I need to see Darkest Hour, and I need to see Phantom Thread, right?
Oh, was that with the guy who says he retired but didn't retire?
Come
and then...
on. So he's the Daniel Day. Are you saying Daniel Day-Lewis is the Brett Favre of acting? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying he's the Ben Roethlisberger of. He really wants you to know how much he's an actor.
Daniel Day-Lewis
Oh, man.
he's retiring so others can win Oscars.
Correct. He might be the
right.
greatest
He
actor
also
of all
really
time.
wants you to know how much he loves being an actor and getting into each role. He's like the Ben Roethlisberger of acting.
No, he's not Ben Roethlisberger. It'd be like if Tom Brady retired. That's how good of an actor he is. He's the best
No,
of all
but Ben
time.
Roethlisberger always wants you to know how injured he is and how much he's battling through and gutting it out.
By the way,
Did you give him the haterade this morning, Rich?
No. Brendan, this is a guy who judges so many books by the cover that he thinks he sees all the time. Now, you as a former athlete, you must deal with that, right?
All the time. I'm just a meathead to this
You're
guy.
just a meathead.
I'm just a big meathead.
Look at you with your cauliflower ears.
Look at me.
you meathead.
Oh, my bouncer, too? Is that what you'd like?
Have you ever been a bouncer?
Sure have it.
Sure
I
have it or have?
Yeah.
Exactly.
You have no idea what Daniel Day-Lewis goes into to prepare for a role.
He was
I
a
do.
shoe cobbler.
I do. He tells us.
He was a shoe cobbler for 5 years in London to get ready for a role. That's real.
When you cobble shoes in London for half a decade, Brockman, then come back and
He
talk
went
to me
back
about
in time
Daniel
and
Day-Lewis.
pretended to be Abraham Lincoln just for that.
I mean,
dumb movie.
he will drink your milkshake and drink it up, man.
He will shut the show down.
There Will Be Blood he was incredible
I mean,
in
great
that.
movie. That was a great movie.
Man. What about Gangs in New York?
Gangs in
the
New
Butcher?
York. Oh my
Bro,
gosh.
what are we doing over
You know
there?
what? I read that
He only watches Jeremy Irons movies when they're in when he's in Die Hard. Like,
Die Hard.
don't.
I know.
don't
You,
even
I know.
why we're
You're
engaging him right
You're
now.
the Expendable 17 type of guy. The Jackie Chan movies.
Fast and Furious. In Gangs in New York, he put a glass contact lens, and he was literally tapping his own eye with a knife.
We call that going all in.
That's the actions of a crazy person.
Or a professional.
The best actor of all time.
Maybe, I mean,
a professional.
seriously, he is leaving the business to. And another reason, again, as I'm watching the NBC coverage and Costas is not there, you're telling me I got a chance this year. Okay,
I like your chances.
Costas is, all of us in the business.
That's right.
Who put our tapes in for best studio host. Costas is. He's like Daniel Day-Lewis. He's tapping out.
He's out of here, man. Retired.
Out. At Brendan Schaub on Twitter, The Fighter and the Kid upcoming tour dates sold out tonight. You doing a gig tonight?
This is just Brendan Schaub. Yeah, no more Fighting the Kid
sorry
lives. This
about
is
that.
just Brendan Schaub stand-up. Yeah, tonight, all 4 shows sold out in La Jolla tonight, tomorrow, and then, I'm
And
off.
then in March, you're in Oxnard, home of the Cowboys, or used to be, for training camp. Tampa, Florida, West Palm Beach, Orlando, San Jose.
I'm all over,
Good
man.
for you, dude. That is not easy. You're doing tour dates. You're doing stand-up and then you're going to show up post Oscars and totally fake it because you haven't seen half the movies. Totally faking it. Oh yeah, that.
No, everything's gonna be Get Out.
Oh
Just-
yeah,
it's the only one I've seen.
that Lady Bird was sublime.
No,
Have you
man.
seen Lady Bird yet?
I have seen Lady Bird.
Okay.
They sent me the movies, man.
Oh, you get screeners?
Yes, come on.
Look at you, humble brag.
Come on, bro.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back in 60 seconds. Chris Brockman with a news update. We didn't even get to that NFL trade. There has been a trade in the National Football League. A player who's been rumored to be on the move is, in fact, going to be on the move. And then what will happen to all these players and programs that are named in the Yahoo Sports piece? Is it possible that sanctions can happen right now before the NCAA tournament? Gabe Feldman of the Tulane Law Sports Program is going to join us. And then your phone calls, if you're on hold, we'll still take them. As Brendan Schaub, thank you for coming here on the show.
Thank you, man.
Back in
Anytime.
60 seconds with Chris Brockman's up.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.